Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment with your hosts, Joe and Ryan.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hey, I'm Joe Wakefield.
Hey, I'm Ryan Lang.
For those of us who are just joining us for the first time, what we do here is a little bit of the spooky, a little bit of the creepy. Sometimes it's cryptozoology, other times it's ghosts, maybe a haunting, maybe a curse, maybe a parallel dimension, but it's always spooky. Then it's followed by a segment we like to call Disclosure Discussion. It's all about aliens.
I'm just asking questions. What are we asking of the government? What have they released? UFO stories, sightings. Today we're going to talk about the Greys.
Ooh, that's a good topic. And then the latter half of our show is dedicated to the entertainment industry. Sometimes we have celebrity deaths. Other times we talk about headlines, news that has just come out. Maybe we'll do a trivia game. Maybe we'll have a fun interview. But it's always entertainment, and it's always Earthling Entertainment with those two sections together. We smash it, make an Oreo of awesome.
That is an Oreo of awesomeness.
Yeah. You know what's funny is we do this all the time, and I stumbled over that last little bit because what I was supposed to say is, and those two things together make Earthling Entertainment. But we're too far in it, so I refuse to re-record. I stand by it. It was perfect.
I stand by. No, it's so good, man.
Sometimes, the problem is, Ryan, is sometimes people get too much into perfection.
I agree.
We need warts and all. It's an authentic show.
This coming from Joe is crazy, everybody.
Yes.
So growing up, my cousin was into Garfield comic books. And when I was younger, I looked up to him, so I thought they were funny. And then my parents were like, oh, you like Garfield? So they just got me Garfield books forever. Remember, I used to have a ton on a book. I
assumed you were a huge Garfield fanatic.
I mean, he was cool enough, I guess. Like, I liked it enough, but yeah, no, my parents just bought me so much. So I'm mentioning that because I'm kind of chuckling the fact that he is still evidently relevant.
There's a new Garfield movie
that just came out, opened up this past weekend against the new Mad Max film.
Well, you know what? People were excited for it, which I don't understand. Maybe it's just because it's a fun family animated movie. I thought Garfield said everything we need to say about Garfield when Bill Murray did it twice in the early 2000s.
Which is shocking. We had it again.
Yes, I know. We had the Garfield movie, and then we had the Garfield movie 2, A Tale of Two Kitties.
The best name, though, ever.
Best name ever.
But no, and it's going to be Chris Pratt. So you already know the internet trope is that, oh boy, it's going to be Chris Pratt playing as himself as Garfield because he doesn't. But I disagree.
You don't think you don't think he does voices?
I do, actually. I think the internet thinks that he does. That's like the usual trope, right? Is what you always see. But I disagree with Super Mario Brothers. I thought he did, try to do a bit of voice. Like he didn't straight up just, it's me, Mario, like the whole thing. He wasn't like doing that. But
Sure.
He had a bit of an Italian accent, little New York accent with it. And
so, he wasn't strictly just Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt.
Right. And even Emmett, in Lego, it was like, it's like, yeah, that's just Chris Pratt. But at the same time, it sounded more like his Parks and Rec character.
I don't know. I think that he is a hot name for animation. And I think the bottom line is every animated movie he has voiced has made its money and made a huge profit. I know Mario's more than $1 billion at the box office. I don't know about Lego Movie, but that was clearly a success.
Huge, yeah.
And the bottom line is, think about an exec sitting there and they're just like, we cast this guy, we make our money. So who's going to be the new Garfield? Chris Pratt. It's not a creative decision at all. It's this guy equals money. This, you put him in an animated film and our animated film will make money. We don't care what he sounds like.
And he's a safe bet too. It's like you've never heard of, Trouble on the Set with Chris Pratt. No, like he's like known to be like a goody little two shoes on, he comes, he does his work, he does his homework, he comes prepared.
Yeah, no, he seems like a nice guy. The thing is what's always kind of slightly bothered me, and I know nothing about his personal life, okay? So this is just how it appeared to me, is he was big and famous doing Parks and Rec, right? Where he's just kind of the goofy guy, and he's married to Anna Faris, and they have children, and everything's great. I believe they have children. I don't know, but I think he did. And the long story short is he got Guardians of the Galaxy, got super hot and ripped, and then all of a sudden they get a divorce, and he's like, I'm gonna, it just seemed like he got, now I'm more famous and sexy, so I'm gonna go play the field and be Hollywood celebrity man. That's just how it seemed to me. And that was a little bit like,
how it seemed to me
a little gross.
Is how was her career doing at the time? So
it shouldn't matter. You're married.
What I'm saying is, no, hold on. Let me walk you through what I'm seeing. So he comes home, right? He's, seeing a lot of success and she's not. What if she was super resentful?
It is possible, of course.
What if she was like horrible to deal with at the time because she was super jealous? I'm just saying, we don't know what happened behind locked doors. She could have been the instigator of crap.
She could have been. Like I said, I don't know these people's personal lives, and you look at a situation and you can't help but project some familiar thing that you went through, which is why everyone has different perspectives. So, we can't judge. I'm just saying that felt a little gross, and maybe you're right. Maybe she was not a pleasant person to be with, and that is why their marriage ended. I don't know.
I remember that story, and I remember people were saying that, and I couldn't help but think that's like the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, what if she was just being a resentful jerk to him?
Well, I think it's both equally as possible. But the point is, a new Garfield movie. Do you think it'll do good?
That's enough tea about those two, right?
I don't know.
No, do I think it'll do good? I'm gonna go ahead and say yes, only because Samuel L. Jackson is playing the role of Garfield's long-lost father. So I am here because it's like part of his contract. He's got to reference motherfucker. So it's literally in his contracts usually. So there's going to be, it's obviously a kid's movie.
I've never heard that. That is ridiculous.
I swear to God, I've heard that. And like they always sneak it in, even when it's in a kid's movie. Like you'll see him be like, mother, and he'll get like cut off. Like they'll cut him off, but it'll be implied.
Fair enough. Well, opening weekend of the new Garfield movie was $24 million.
What was the budget?
The budget is not stated yet. They won't state that if it's embarrassing, so they're probably waiting to find out. But that was just the opening weekend. Since then, the gross in US and Canada has been 31 million, and the worldwide gross has been 97 million. So it's probably going to make its money. So this probably isn't a flop. Because
probably not.
I have to imagine this animated movie didn't cost more than $100 million. I could be wrong. So then you add, $20 million in marketing. So they have to make about $150 million to break even kind of situation.
Well, this is according to Wikipedia. So take it with a grain of salt. It says the budget was 60 mil.
Okay, so if it's 60 mil, then I think they might be at the break even point now with the marketing. Because marketing is usually, 10 million, 20 million on a film that's about 60 million. So yeah.
And underneath it says here, the box office, this is Wikipedia, says 97.4 mil.
Yeah, that is the worldwide box office right now, like I said. So, yeah, so that is the same as my source. So there you go, man, the Garfield movie. That was a little bit of the entertainment section before the entertainment section, because the first half of our show is actually the spooky stuff and the creepy stuff. But Ryan wanted to talk about Garfield.
Yeah, because Garfield hits home, and it just cracks me up that he's still a thing, because yeah, I do love Garfield, but I guess I'm just effing sick of him.
You're sick of Garfield, so you're surprised this movie's come out. And doing well, Ryan.
And doing well. No, like I said, I guessed it would.
So there gotta be more Garfield.
Dude, you've got Samuel L. Jackson.
Do you still
Chris
have
Pratt.
like child Garfield sweaters? Do you have Garfield mugs?
Gosh, I used to have a ton of shit. I've got a glass. I've got a Garfield glass where he's sitting on a teeter-totter, and all of his friends are on the other side, and he's raising them up.
I heard this movie is not true to the spirit of Garfield beyond eating. Like, they make the character hungry and want food, and that's character, right? But the whole, I hate Mondays, being grumpy, all that stuff, apparently it's like, nope, just a cat story.
And that's literally the essence of Garfield, is he's a miserable son of a bitch.
Yeah,
that's what makes him funny.
I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. We'll save the judgment until I watch it, I guess. I have a kid, so we'll see it.
They should have got the dude who played Professor Snape to be him. They should have.
He's dead.
I know, but back when he was alive.
Alan Rickman?
Alan Rickman would have made a good Garfield voice, I think.
All right, guys. Alan Rickman, the best Garfield voice we never had. Maybe in another dimension.
Fuck, John. This is some bullshit. Give me fucking lasagna.
Why is he swearing? Why is he so vulgar?
That's the version we lost out on, and it would have been great.
Directed by Zack Snyder.
No, I would direct it.
Garfield.
I would direct it. Directed by Ryan Lang.
Directed by Ryan Lang.
Copyright Earthling Entertainment.
Garfield.
Garfield.
All right, guys, and that brings us to our first segment. Spooky stuff.
The Wood Devils.
Ooh.
New Hampshire has dense woods that stretch for hundreds of miles. Cryptids love hiding in these unexplored forests. So, it's not surprising that stories of a Bigfoot-type creature do hide in these woods.
Ooh.
Who are these creatures? Say hello to the Coos County Wood Devils.
The Wood Devils. Hold on, we gotta do with the fancy thing. Hold on.
Yes, you must.
The Wood Devil.
That gives me shimmies in my jimmies.
I like that. That was good. You know what? I put the joke. No, I'm done. I was gonna say, hold on. I gotta finish it out. I put the Joe in joke.
Oh, okay.
It's really stupid though.
That was good. The sleeker, thinner version of Bigfoot,
That's a sexy Bigfoot.
or so witnesses report. A skinnier Bigfoot that haunts Coos County. Now that would be fascinating if true. However, it is unknown if they are related to the well-known elusive Sasquatch. Witnesses describe wood devils as tall and hairy, with long, pointy faces, and covered with grayish fur. They stand over 7 feet tall and walk on 2 feet like a human. Witnesses report.
But it's got like a snout. That's kind of a cool change.
Yeah, it's like a flatter face.
I'm imagining like a pointier face,
Yeah,
like
pointy,
a
yeah,
dog, you know?
Yeah. Witnesses, like almost like a Werewolf in London kind of look like. that.
Sure, yeah.
Witnesses report that devils are extremely fast and good at hiding. They use their slim forms to hide in plain sight by using trees to camouflage them. What makes them different from Bigfoot is their height. Covered in grayish fur, they don't get to Bigfoot's reported height of upwards to 9 and 10 feet tall.
Which is ridiculous. Can you imagine seeing something 10
No.
feet? Then again, I mean, this thing is 7 foot tall, and I got to be honest, that's scary enough. That's way taller than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 5'8". I'm not that tall.
Joe's 5'8". I'm 5'5".
So is Tom Cruise.
That's right.
And he's the action hero of our dreams.
Of a generation. Of a
Voice
generation.
of a generation.
Voice of
yes.
a generation. You know, I know my wish, because I know that I'm a gay fish. Sorry.
South Park reference.
Hairy-like Bigfoot is the only common trait the two critters share. Oh yeah. Speculation ranges from the wood devils being distant cousins to being an entirely new species.
I think an entirely new species.
I agree. Except no evidence to support that theory. But I mean, there's no evidence at all anyway.
There's no evidence to support any of these cryptids. Otherwise, it would be not cryptid. It would be like, oh, that's an animal.
It's like, that was quite a moot point there, Captain Obvious. Witnesses report Bigfoot sightings from all over the world. This new cryptid only haunts Coos County so far. That is how this mysterious cryptid got its Coos County Wood Devil's name. Sightings of the unusual cryptid started in the 1900s, with increased sightings in the 1930s. Reports of the Wood Devil continue today, but why there were more reports in the 30s is a mystery.
I don't know. I think maybe they were coming from a different dimension. I'm just speculating here. They came from a different dimension,
I was going to say that.
right? And then they went away. And that's why they were there for a time. They were travelers. They had cameras. They took pictures. It was saucy.
Maybe the portal just became like kind of less known. They put some caution tape on the other end, like leads to crazy humans.
Well, you know, we're joking a little bit, but the fact is, if there is only in Coos County, like it's only in this one section, but it's multiple reports, like they believe that this exists. Well, if that is the case, then, especially if there was only more sightings in the 30s, that it seems like they were visitors. They came and left. That's all we're saying. Maybe not dimensions, maybe aliens. I don't know.
They're just like, oh no, New Hampshire, go back, go back. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't know anything about New Hampshire. I just felt like it'd be funny to rip
There's
on
someone
New Hampshire.
from New Hampshire sitting back like, you know what?
Like-
I thought this show was for us children. I'm turning off the radio. This is not here for the Phyllises.
Like just some dude in New Hampshire. That son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
like, there's a whole movie about how he slowly stalks Ryan and murders him 3 weeks from now. This is the first scene.
And then it's just all to light a bag of dog shit on my porch. It's
He's gonna murder you.
Oh, well.
Yeah, the whole point is a horror movie.
It was worth it. I stand by it. I rip on New Hampshire.
Oh, poor
I don't know
Mitch.
why, but I am.
But anyways, yeah, Wood Devils, man. Cool name.
I agree. I actually do like it. The origin of these elusive and shy beasties, I like that word, is also unknown. Their thin shapes make it easy for them to blend in with the trees, and that makes them difficult to see unless you almost walk upon them. Many witnesses claim that is exactly what happened. Hiking or walking with family, and the next thing, they almost walk on a wood devil. One reason sightings
Shit, Wood Devil.
like, oh my God, what was that? Like, God damn it, there. I think I
There's
just stepped,
so many Wood Devils around
I just
here.
stepped on a dang dear wood devil. What you be darned? One reason sightings aren't as common today as in the 1930s could be because the wood devils use trees to hide, and beasties learned over time to hide better and faster.
They got better at it. That's our solution. Hey, maybe they did.
Or maybe just no one's paying attention. Everyone's just head down. No one's going walking through the woods no more. They're like, oh yeah.
Maybe they're just by their own nature clairvoyant, and they saw into the future, and they're like, all right, guys, in the future, they're going to have phones, and they'll be able to record us. We got to get really good at hiding. Like, really good.
Indoor plumbing. It's going to be big.
That was a Hercules reference.
Yes.
Disney's 1997 animated film, Hercules.
You goddamn right, I just referenced it. You want to fight about it? This suggests they are not only intelligent, but they can learn, if that theory is correct, that they can hide better and faster.
Clever girl.
That was Jurassic Park.
All right, we're killing it today. I'm just gonna say.
Ancient alien theorists. Oh man, that's like my favorite. Ancient alien theorists speculate Bigfoot could be an alien species.
Yep.
There are coincidences of Bigfoot sightings coinciding with UFO sightings. This leads some UFO experts to believe that there's a connection between them. If wood devils are a distant cousin to Bigfoot, they could be related to UFOs. That might explain why sightings died off if UFOs took them back home. That was my best impersonation of the narrator on Ancient Aliens. That was my best.
I like the theory. That's not bad. I like that one. Where they're just like, yeah, they were here for a time, then they flew away. That was kind of what we were saying.
I believe in that. I believe that, yeah, it could be like an interdimensional thing. It could be, yeah, like they're Chewbacca. You know, they're smarter than we think. Just because they're big and hairy and in the woods doesn't mean that they're dumb. You know, who knows? We know this all sounds far-fetched, but watch a few episodes of Ancient Aliens. It is a television series about the connection between ancient aliens and human history. It is a fascinating series to watch and will make you question what you think you know.
And if you don't believe any of it, it is just kind of a fun watch. Like I'm a writer, and let me tell you, even the things that I'm like, that is preposterous, they make you think and they give you good ideas. It's a really fun show. We're not endorsing the show. It's just for some reason this article endorsed the show, and I forgot to take that section out, to be perfectly honest.
Well, it's a good message. I stand by it because I'm all for Ancient Aliens. I liked it in the beginning. I'll admit later on, I think they were getting a little bit like scraping the bottom of the barrel.
They ran out of things to say.
Like every Bible story probably wasn't aliens. Like
a couple of them, though.
A couple of them, maybe. Yeah. But, you know, New Hampshire is a good-sized state, but the wood devils have been reported only in Coos County. Almost every state has had sightings of Bigfoot. For instance, Arizona has a Bigfoot. They call it the Mogollon Monster. Only New Hampshire doesn't have a Bigfoot. They have wood devils. They own the only state to report such a creature. It makes you wonder why.
Because they're unique, okay? It's not that weird. Not everything is Bigfoot. I'm looking at you, skunk ape.
Right, because with the face and all that.
Yeah, it's got like a dog snout.
That would have been, that the sharp, pointy face, that would have totally been noted in a Bigfoot sighting, and it never has.
Exactly.
So this is something totally different.
Completely different species.
Witnesses say the wood devils are extremely shy and avoid humans. They prefer the remote forests near the Canadian border, eh? Sorry. Those woods would hide anything, but wood devils are still
Hold on.
spotted.
You don't say sorry when you do some
Sorry.
like accents that are going to really offend someone, but then you say
Accents
A,
can't be offensive.
and then you say A, and you're like, hold on, sorry, I don't want to offend the Canadians.
Yeah, well, I guess I was more apologizing that it was just not funny.
I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Thank you. These woods can hide anything, but wood devils are still spotted. The reports are most numerous from the 1930s to the 1970s. The sightings tapered away after the 1970s, but there are still some reports today.
Yeah.
Evan Lichnowsky.
Oh, Lynchnowski?
Yes. And
Must be Polish.
and his former wife Edith were hiking Dummer Pond Trail. The trail off Nash Stream Road was watching the sunrise in 2000. They were enjoying the morning when a dark figure loomed suddenly in front of them. Their minds couldn't process what they saw. A tall, slim, hairy figure ran down the path away from them and was gone.
Creepy.
Lichnowsky says he didn't realize what he saw at first. Belatedly, his mind realized that what he saw was the wood devil.
I love it. It's now that I think about it, 30 years ago, I think it was the monster.
Ah, that was a wood devil.
That tracks.
Was it a figment of their imagination, or did they see the wood devil? November 15th, 2004. A man reported running into one of these devils at 5 a.m. He and his friend were buck hunting in the woods, heading to their spot. They were startled by a high-pitched yelp and saw a critter run. It was 7 feet tall, with a long pointed head and covered in grayish fur. He and his grandfather were scared by the sound.
Yeah, that would be horrifying. I would be scared.
They hid behind a tree and watched the devil slope down to the bridge. Once out of sight, the two men walked around looking for footprints. The men discovered not one, but 2 footprints and were excited about their find. According to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, wood devils will freeze in place if they can't hide.
That's kind of awesome. Don't move. They can't see us if we don't move.
Maybe he doesn't see us. They will stand motionless in place until they deem it safe. That would be kind of petrifying. Like it sounds like something out of Silent Hill, right? When you stare at it, they just freeze.
That would be horrifying.
That would be horrifying. Like you wouldn't want to take your eyes away.
Exactly. It's like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. Same concept.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you. They primarily hunt the Coos County, and especially in the White Mountains. There have been sightings of this fast-moving, elusive monster up and down the Appalachian Trail, in Vermont, and along the Canadian border. But Coos County is the hotbed of activity. What is it about Coos County that the devils like is anybody's guess? Or what about it that the devils like is anybody's guess? Wherever they are sighted, the devils do not like being seen. They release these
Don't look at me.
Yeah, heart-wrenching screams if seen. Like, ah!
Yeah, that'd be horrifying. Like, seriously, you look at something, it starts screaming and then freezes. That would freak me out.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, this is not Bigfoot.
Like we just talked about Resident Evil, and that sounds like a Resident Evil creature. They hide in plain sight in front of trees. Their thin bodies use trees as shields, so they can hide in plain sight, anything to avoid detection. It is a continuing debate about whether the devils are subspecies of Bigfoot or if they are new and presently unidentified new species. They are probably different subspecies because, although hair covers their bodies like hair covers the Bigfoot, Bigfoot is reported to have black, brown, or white fur, according to most recent sightings. The devil has grayish skin and a long, pointy face. Bigfoot sightings don't have a long, pointy face or grayish fur.
No, they do not.
Whether you believe in the wood devils or Bigfoot, You can't help noticing the differences between the two. They both have fur, but Bigfoot reports is with darker fur. Only the wood devils are covered in grayish fur and reported thinner and shorter than the Bigfoot.
And saucier. They're very snappy. They have comebacks. They'll burn you before you burn them.
And they will squeal
If you look at them, it's
if
horrifying.
you look at them and just stand there and stare at you. And then just
Jesus
awkwardly just stare at,
Christ.
like, oh, God.
Yeah, that would be that'd be really, really, really funny, actually. Imagine
So-
like it would be horrifying at first, right? But if you ran into like a bunch of them and you're walking through the woods, and just like every 3 seconds, one of them freaks out, and then freezes. Just like, all right, guys, this is getting old. You need to. All right, guys, can we stop? Damn wood devils! Oh, Jesus, another one.
So, if you are hiking in the mountains of New Hampshire, be careful. You might accidentally wander upon a wood devil. If you do, maybe you can tell if it's a Bigfoot cousin or not.
So I liked this cryptid because I never heard of it before. And I don't know, that's pretty much it. I guess that's the end. I picked it because I never heard of it before. It seemed cool.
Never heard of wood devil.
No, have you?
No. Wood devil is new, and obviously it's a thing only with one county in New Hampshire. And they said there were certain stories.
I know,
close,
but since the 30s to the 70s, there's a bunch of reports, and there's more reports. They're not as frequent, but I mean, if everyone's saying they've seen the same kind of description of a creature, then there's probably something to it.
And if there's still really thick woods, who the heck knows? I say it all the time on the podcast. Like, there's still plenty of places in America that you could get lost as heck and you'll never be found again. Like there's places that we just don't go. Like, who knows? There could be anything.
Well, absolutely. And also, there are places in this world, like islands, where a certain species exists, and that's the only place in the world they exist. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, that's the
So, I mean-
Galapagos, right? That's how Darwin kind of like came up with a lot of his theory.
All I know is there could be a subspecies just in that part of the woods in Vermont. Who's to say? So, if you're walking in the woods, you might come across a wood devil.
Wood devil.
Hey, guys. Now, prepare yourself for the second half of the first half. So, the first quarter? I don't know. Here is
Ryan's disclosure discussion. It's about aliens and stuff.
Time traveling, gray aliens. Future humans preventing our nuclear catastrophe. Dystopian future. The future of humanity and the gray aliens. In recent discussions about UFOs and extraterrestrial beings, a fascinating theory has emerged. The little gray aliens are actually humans from the future. These future humans have supposedly traveled back in time to alter our timeline, aiming to prevent a nuclear catastrophe that leads to the degeneration of the human species into the form that we recognize as gray aliens.
I really, really like this theory.
I've heard it before. This theory suggests that these gray aliens are trying to avert a disastrous future. Let's delve into the details of this compelling hypothesis.
I want to get like a Sherlock Holmes pipe and puff it. Yes, let's delve into this intellectual journey. Join us on Disclosure Discussion, PBS.
Elementary, my dear Joseph. Elementary. The mission: preventing a catastrophic future. According to the theory, these gray aliens are future humans who have decided to come back to our time with a mission to steer us away from the brink of nuclear disaster. They aim to shift humanity's trajectory away from nuclear power and weapons, which, if left unchecked, could lead to a catastrophic event that nearly exterminates the human race. The survivors, a small breakaway group, would eventually evolve into the beings we now call gray aliens. To prevent this grim outcome, they must carefully alter our timeline. One of the reasons for their cautious approach is the paradox of time travel. Announcing their presence or mission could inadvertently cause the very events they seek to prevent. This careful balancing act explains the secrecy and hushed nature of UFO disclosures. Notably, this information was shared with Ross Coulthart, a highly credible UFO journalist, often compared to Australia's Walter Cronkite.
Ooh, I love Walter Cronkite.
Coulthart, based on his high-level sources, has lent significant credibility to this theory. Additionally, Dr. Michael Masters, a PhD anthropologist and biologist, supports this view. Masters has studied human evolution extensively and believes that the gray aliens resemble what humans might look like in the distant future, especially under specific conditions, such as living in space or underground. His interest was piqued after seeing the iconic gray alien image on Whitley Strieber's book, Communion.
Great book, great movie.
Masters suggests that facial and bodily features of gray aliens, large heads, big eyes, small limbs, could result from evolutionary changes over millennia, especially in environments with limited light and confined spaces. The sight of that cover compelled him to consider how drastically human physiology could evolve, particularly if humanity faced dramatic environmental shifts or technological advancements. This revelation propelled him into the study of how future humans might evolve, leading to his current conviction that gray aliens are indeed humans from the future.
Humans from the future. Let's hear more.
Masters' hypothesis hinges on the idea that as humans adapt to different environments, significant physiological changes would occur. For example, living in space or underground would reduce exposure to natural sunlight, potentially enlarging our eyes to better see in low light conditions. Similarly, or less physically demanding lifestyle with advanced technology might lead to smaller, more delicate bodies.
Yeah, both of those things completely track as far as I'm concerned.
Evidence and implications of temporal interventions. The focus on nuclear technology as a pivotal point in our timeline is telling. Gray aliens are frequently reported near nuclear facilities and have involved in incidents where they seemingly deactivate nuclear weapons. This consistent pattern suggests a clear objective to deter humanity from continuing down a dangerous path. And we just covered this one in my opinion, one of our biggest UFO sightings that we've covered here on the podcast, and that was the squid UFO that was seen on a military base leaving a nuclear power plant.
Crazy. Yeah, so there's definitely a big, long tradition of aliens being interested in our nuclear power.
Very much so. And yes, I've heard that they've we've tried exploding them in space. They're always deactivated.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Well, that's interesting.
Furthermore, there are numerous reports of mysterious technologies appearing out of nowhere. Metals, materials, and even entire crafts seemingly drop from the sky. Gary Nolan, a scientist known for analyzing such metamaterials, has found that these materials often defy current technological understanding. And the presence of these objects supports the idea that future humans are leaving technological breadcrumbs to aid in our development.
Ooh, that's why we had such a big technological boom in the last 100 years. Just saying.
It really explains a whole lot. Like the smartphone shouldn't exist. Like according to how we went from the razor phone to that. Like it was whoa.
Well, 100 years ago we had trains.
Yes. And Morse code was invented because of a medical emergency that the telegram couldn't get through in time.
We're just asking questions.
Just asking questions. This phenomenon is linked to the Bootstrap paradox.
Ooh, I love paradox. That's the name of my son, Paradox.
A time travel paradox where an item from the future is brought to the past, eventually leading to its own creation. For example, Loki. I'm just kidding. But it wasn't Loki.
Yeah, it isn't Loki.
They brought it back to him.
Yeah, that is an old thing where it's like, hey, we bring this back. You look at it, and now you've invented it, but you wouldn't have invented it otherwise. But you had to have invented it because you invented it for it to exist, for it to go back in time. Woo!
Paradox.
Paradox Wakefield.
If someone from the future gave an iPhone to a scientist in the 1900s, that scientist might reverse engineer it, leading to technological breakthroughs that eventually result in the invention of the iPhone. This loop, where the origin of technology becomes a mystery, could explain the advanced technologies we find today.
Yep.
Gray aliens' frequent appearances around nuclear facilities and their apparent ability to deactivate nuclear weapons further reinforce this theory. These beings seem to be sending a clear message. Nuclear technology is a pivotal point in our timeline that must be carefully managed or avoided entirely. Reports from military personnel and credible witnesses describe numerous instances where UFOs have tampered with nuclear weapons, sometimes rendering them inoperable.
Yep.
This
like they're always like, oh, this flew over the base, and then they turned off all of our nukes. Like, there's a bunch of stories about it.
Yeah. And this consistent focus on nuclear sites underscores the importance of steering humanity away from potential self-destruction. Navigating the paradox. The role of reverse engineering. The Bootstrap paradox suggests that future humans are not just giving us technology, they are strategically placing advanced items for us to find and reverse engineer.
Pebbles in a pond make big ripples.
They do indeed. This process is intended to accelerate our technological advancement and guide us away from destructive past. Technologies like Teflon, semiconductors, and night vision could be examples of such reverse engineered products. The ultimate goal is to lead humanity toward a point where we can harness free energy, zero-point energy, effectively eliminating the need for nuclear power and other potentially catastrophic energy sources.
That would be awesome. And it's funny because that was the MacGuffin in the Fallout show, was the unlimited power. The MacGuffin.
And that's literally all we need. Yeah, if we could figure that out, that would end a lot of BS, I think.
It definitely would. In the Star Trek series, they also said that the food replicator was when things turned around, when the humanity was no longer dependent on like food, when anyone in the world could have anything to eat at any time.
That does make sense.
Yeah, so that and unlimited power, yeah, it would be like a utopia. It would be some weird 1960s version of the future.
Yeah, if they actually did it right, like they could actually just produce a real frickin' steak.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
By leaving advanced technologies for us to discover, future humans hope to create a breadcrumb trail that leads to a safer, more sustainable future. This approach also involves influencing key individuals.
Oh my God, they're alien influencers. I'm sorry.
It's like, I follow that TikTok.
Oh!
they come for the dances.
I don't know about this Earthling Entertainment, but I love alien influencer.
They're the best. They know all the great dances, and they wear they know all the best fashion.
There is sometimes where I'm just dancing on camera, and then I get really, really close to it, and then when I back out, I'm in a different outfit. I'm revolutionary.
Dude. Why am I hearing the song?
Oh my God! Why? I was trying to make fun of the Gen X trend, and you're just like, let's go straight Silence of the Lambs.
That's right. Or Clerks 2.
Which was referencing Silence of the Lambs.
Correct.
It
is multi-layered reference.
Oh my God! It's referenceception.
Ooh, yes.
Christopher Nolan would be proud.
They knew I was going to do it before I did it. For instance, placing a thought in a scientist's mind could spur a breakthrough, or leaving a book with critical knowledge in a place where it can be found can shift the course of scientific discovery. This method of subtle influence helps guide humanity without causing the disruptions that direct intervention might entail.
That's fair. Yeah. A light touch. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do this with a light touch.
There are several documented cases of mysterious artifacts and materials being discovered under circumstances that suggest they were deliberately left for us to find. These items often contain elements or compounds not yet known to science, prompting extensive research and ultimately leading to significant technological advancements.
Yeah, what was Bob Lazar's thing? It was like Compound X or something. What was that? Do you remember?
Oh, it was
Element
Element
19, maybe?
I think it was like Element 116.
I don't know. But anyways, that's exactly what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, something like that. And he said it 100% existed. It was the anti-gravity element.
Yeah.
So just look that up, the anti-gravity element.
And Bob Lazar.
Yes.
Ryan lost his place. This is what happens when you don't use your pen. I give you a pen, Ryan.
The goal
All right.
appears to
And
be
we're back.
to provide humanity with the tools necessary, like a pen, to advance without the immediate risk of misuse. Conclusion: future humans and the gray aliens. The theory that gray aliens are future humans attempting to alter our timeline offers a compelling explanation for many UFO phenomena. I just had to say it that way. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. The secrecy surrounding UFO disclosures, the presence of advanced materials and technologies, and the consistent focus on nuclear facilities all support this hypothesis. That all rhymed.
They really want us to have Velcro. Thank God our children's shoes are easier.
Yes, thank you, actually. By leaving us technological breadcrumbs and influencing key individuals, these future humans aim to steer us away from a catastrophic future. This idea is supported by credible figures like Ross Coulthart and Dr. Michael Masters, suggests that our current path could lead to a dystopian future where humanity devolves into a form we recognize as gray aliens. However, with their new intervention, we have the potential to branch off into a more positive timeline.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get buff and not like tiny and skinny and big-headed.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe in the future we're all like really, really smart Arnold Schwarzeneggers, like his character from Twins.
That is a good future to have.
It is.
So you got to do the.
It's funny. That was your best impression of the show. I got to be honest. That right there, nailed it. Nailed it.
As we continue to explore and understand these phenomena, that's the best I can do.
That was good. I liked it.
It is crucial to consider the broader implications of such interventions. Could the future of humanity depend on the actions of these time-traveling gray aliens? Only time will tell. But the evidence presented offers a fascinating perspective on our possible future and the lengths to which we might go to protect it.
It's true, but what if there are us in the future, right? And
Right.
they're going back in time to prevent a future that is as shitty as theirs, but because they're meddling, that's what creates the crappy future that creates them. That is just as likely of a scenario if you've watched any sci-fi television or movie. They could be causing it, Ryan.
And if you listen to this podcast, you know his name is Carl. God damn it, Carl.
What are you doing,
We were
Carl?
supposed to fix it, and you screwed it up.
I mean,
Look.
You gave him fire. You warned him about the flood. Like, Jesus, Carl.
Damn it,
What
Carl.
are you doing? You even posed as Jesus, Carl.
And they all start to change shape in real time because we're evolving in a worse way. So they just start to alter. What?
Why do I have a stinger? What are we fighting now?
Man.
That's why you hear about the praying mantis grays. That was one of Carl's goddamn mistakes.
Oh, now I can't see color. I can't see color anymore, guys.
Does anyone else taste purple?
I do taste purple.
Yeah. All right.
And that's what happened to the gray aliens because we're all a little too dumb, and Carl was just as dumb.
Oh my God.
And the paradox has come full force.
That's such a stupid rabbit hole.
And humanity is doomed.
Earthling Entertainment special report! So, Knives Out 3 gets its title, and that title is Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. It's coming to Netflix in 2025. Maybe it'll have a small theatrical window just like the last one, who knows? But this has been an Earthling Entertainment special report! Remember that guy? Remember that gal? Well, now they're dead.
Morgan Spurlock, Super Size Me director, dies at 53. Morgan Spurlock, a documentary filmmaker who captured his own psychological and physical symptoms from eating McDonald's every day for a month in the Oscar-nominated 2004 feature Super Size Me, died Thursday in upstate New York due to complications of cancer. He was 53. Spurlock rose to prominence for Super Size Me, in which he conducted an experiment involving consuming only food from McDonald's for a 30-day stretch. The rules also included the stipulation that Spurlock could not refuse the supersize option if prompted during transaction. The filmmaker also excited less to match the average American's physical activity.
Yeah. So basically, he wasn't working out a bunch. He was kind of just, hanging out like, they average how many fat asses are in the United States. We're like, all right, they'd get about half a mile of walking a day.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. But yeah.
We're fat. By the end of the experiment, Spurlock claimed that he gained 25 pounds and suffered from depression and liver dysfunction. Spurlock's family confirmed his death. It was a sad day as we said goodbye to my brother Morgan, says Craig Spurlock, who worked with his brother on several projects. Morgan gave so much through his art, ideas, and generosity. Today, the world has lost a true creative genius and a special man. I am so proud to have worked together with him. Spurlock is survived by his two children, Lakin and Kaylin. Morgan Spurlock, you will be missed.
And personally, I will miss him because I liked his work. And everyone knows Super Size Me. I think it was last year or the year before he did a sequel called Super Size Me 2, and it was all about like chicken fast food. But his favorite film my favorite film of his that he did came out in 2011, and it was called Comic-Con Episode 4, A Fan's Hope. And it was a whole Comic-Con movie, and he followed around a few different people. He followed around a gentleman who was trying to sell an ultra-rare comic for like $500,000, and his struggle being a comic book seller in a world where movies and TV show are taking over these conventions. He also followed a bunch of cosplayers, and they did a Mass Effect creature, and that was it opened its mouth, and they did a whole Mass Effect thing, and they won the thing, and she became a I'm losing track of what I'm saying. They won the contest, and
Right.
she became a consultant for the upcoming Mass Effect movie, which that was 2011. So obviously that Mass Effect movie didn't happen, but that was how that character ended. And a few other people did stuff like that. And I thought he was a good filmmaker. And
Definitely talented. He had a great idea. Everybody heard of that. We all know what Super Size Me is. Like, that was what killed the Super Size.
it's true. McDonald's stopped doing Super Size Me after that. They were like, oh, this is bad publicity.
That literally, he killed it. They weren't the only ones. I think Wendy's went down. Everybody did. And
Well, I mean, the Super Size Me aspect, he's saying that phrase and getting a size larger than a large, it became unfashionable.
I remember
Unfashionable, Ryan.
I remember getting the gigantic thing of fries.
Well, there was a family size fry one, and it was almost like the large cup full of fries. They had its own cup though.
Yeah, it did. But man, yeah, those were some extreme days of fast food, and that was back when fast food was affordable.
Well, also, yeah, it was affordable and it was fast. Now it's not affordable and it is very slow. Why do
Yes.
we still call it fast food? But also, we were kids and we were able to eat it like a lot more. Now, if I eat, McDonald's 3 times a week, I'm gonna die.
Probably.
Yeah, which was kind of the whole point of his documentary. And there was, I believe, someone said that he was kind of a drinker in his past, so some of that liver damage that he was reported at the end of the documentary may not have 100% contributed to eating fast food. But
I could already see the people making that defense. He was a drinker, okay? It's not just the food.
yeah, well, there's a lobbyist for McDonald's who's like taking notes right now. He's like, ooh,
Right. But
apparently
either way, the dude's famous, right? I mean, that's crazy. But man, how young?
53, and that really, really sucks because he had a lot more movies under his belt, and I liked the work that he saw. He had another one, the greatest movie ever sold, and it was all about advertising in movies. So like when you watch a film and you see Mountain Dew everywhere or a Pepsi sign, how you get Pepsi to give you money to put that sign in your movie. And what he did is he made a movie where he was selling ads to be in the movie that he was making, which was him getting ads for the movie. So he would go to places and convince them, all right, give me money. And then after that, like later on, he would be like wearing a shirt and drinking it as he goes and asks other people to. It was a really clever thing if you're a film industry fan.
I mean, you see it all the time. I think like one of the most blatant advertisement I ever saw in a film. It's going to be funny, but I don't know why this is the movie that comes to mind. Dr. Dolittle 2. The Mustang even had its own joke in the movie. Like they literally have made a joke about the car, the Mustang, and then they park it in such an obvious way that it's just showcasing the Mustang. Like
just like clearly a commercial for a Mustang kind of parking.
Clearly, it was like you were watching a literal commercial in the middle of a movie, and I'll never forget that.
That is awesome. And some of them, Michael Bay especially in the Transformer films, he does egregious product placement for things. And what my favorite though is the Wayne's World. In the original Wayne's World, they were so clever because they did their product placement as product placement. They're talking about not selling out as they're like saying the slogans of the companies that he's like, yes, and it's a choice of a new generation and drinks a Pepsi, which at the time was Pepsi's slogan. And then they did the same thing for Advil and
then Garth is sitting there in full from head to toe wearing Adidas track suit.
Was
it
Adidas or no? It was Adidas. I was thinking maybe Reebok.
I think it was Adidas. He's like, just some people do anything for money,
and that's really sad.
Really sad.
Oh my god. I don't know if anyone listening has seen Wayne's World, but if you're a fan of goofy comedies and Comedy Central in the 90s and Mike Myers, good stuff. Stuff. I don't think I'm selling Wayne's World on anyone. I think everyone is aware.
If you're in America and you haven't seen Wayne's World, then you can just get it out.
Oh my God. All right, but the point is, Morgan Spurlock.
By my decision.
Morgan Spurlock, you will be missed. And sorry, bud. That sucks. It was cancer complications. No one wants to go that young, and that is not a fun way to go. And with all due respect, because I think we all know someone or have a family member who's been affected by cancer, it's not a joke. That is really unfortunate.
No, that's way too young. That sucks.
And so you will be missed, and I'll still watch your movies because I have a few of them. All right.
Oh yeah, I will always. I will never not think of the man whenever I get McDonald's. Whenever I'm having that sad moment in that drive-through, I think about him.
It's funny. I'd like to say I'm never going to eat McDonald's again in his honor, but that's not unrealistic. That's an unrealistic expectation, Ryan.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
All right, guys. So that brings us to the final segment of the show, and that is Earthling Entertainment headlines.
James Wan developing 1313, a darker version of the Munsters. The Munsters are coming back once again. Just a year and change over since Rob Zombie's The Munsters movie, which was awesome.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
I thought it was very stylistic. It reminded me of going to a haunted house when I was a kid. And I don't know what people expected, because if you watch the old Munster show, it was just as corny and stupid.
It was just silly and corny, and I think he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, but everyone hated it. Like, for real, everyone hated it. It made no money. It was sent to Netflix to die. Like, everyone hated it.
Well.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I support it.
I think that it was Rob Zombie in a weird way. I think he does certain things his own way on purpose, because, where he knows maybe it's not what the crowd wants. He does it because that's what he wants to do. And that's what you're going to get from Rob.
Well, that's true. As an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did think it was a lot of fun, and I think he nailed a lot of the characters, and some things were a little bit goofy, but that was the tone. That was a tone he was going for.
I mean, yeah, and like you said, it was the tone of the original.
But James Wan is known for horror, and if they want to make a dark 1313, don't misunderstand. I'm here for that too. I'm here to see the monsters in any capacity you want to show them to me. You know.
And it says here that Universal is taking another crack at their iconic property. According to Deadline, horror master James Wan is producing a new series via his Atomic Monster production company.
I really like Atomic Monsters. Just saying.
I like the name. They describe it as a darker take on the classic show, which showcased lovable sitcom versions of the Universal monsters. The title of the latest reboot is 1313, as in the Munsters home address.
Yes. Was it like Mockingjay or Mockingbird Lane?
Mockingbird.
Mockingbird. Nailed it.
Whereas the Rob Zombie version of the Munsters was a movie, this is looking to go the television series route.
It might work better that way. Some things do work better as shows.
I mean, the Munsters was a show,
Yeah.
so that makes sense to me.
It's probably easier to adapt a show to a show.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, just ignore all the failures, like, the repeated Charlie's Angels and things like that. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
They made a one-season Bionic Woman in the early 2000s, which I actually liked, but that did not. They did not continue.
I can't imagine why. This is actually not the first time Universal has produced a darker, edgier take on the Munsters for television.
Everyone's sexy. They have their shirt off in the rain. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was Archie Comics. Continue.
Oh. And the last one basically had the same naming convention too, centered on their home address. Over a decade ago, Brian Fuller developed a series called Mockingbird Lane. It starred Jerry O'Connell as Herman Munster, Portia de Rossi as Lily, and Eddie Izzard as Grandpa.
Eddie Izzard? That's
I was going to say
awesome.
that literally sounds like a name of one of the people from the Munsters.
No, I know Eddie Izzard, and he is great. Also, Jerry O'Connell, man, that's cool. He was in Sliders.
Oh.
Watch Sliders. Just saying. Continue.
I like Sliders.
He's also in the new Star Trek Lower Decks. He plays a character in that. Yeah, the animated one. That's very good. Jerry O'Connell's awesome.
Lower Decks. I have no idea. I got nothing.
Do you not know about Star Trek Lower Decks?
I do not.
Okay, well, long story short, there's an animated Star Trek show called Lower Decks. It's a comedy. They're on, I think they're going to be 5 seasons, and it's pretty good.
I think I have seen clips.
All right. Well, it does take place. It is canon in the Star Trek universe. Do you know 2 characters from that cartoon actually were in the new series? What was it? The one with Pike, I don't know, Brave New World or something like that. Well, anyways, that new series, they jumped from animation to sci-fi, real life, live action. It was crazy. It was a good episode, season 2.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyways, the Munsters.
Controversial X-Men director Bryan Singer shot a rather expensive pilot. The Munsters concept never went to a full series, but the episode aired as a Halloween special back in 2012.
Which I want to track down and watch.
I was going to say, we got to see this. A new, more traditional The Munsters sitcom was announced in 2017, yet it never came to be either. Wonder why.
I mean, sometimes you just try to get something off the ground. You keep going, and you have like 50 versions in the can, and then you just finally make one. I mean, the new Crow that's coming out, they've been trying to make that for years. For a while, Jason Momoa was attached. Now we got the guy from It. Strange.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, doesn't look goth.
I'm not.
Doesn't look goth enough. I got to be honest. That is my review. I want it to be on the poster. The new Crow, starring Bill Skarsgård. Not goth enough.
Not quite as goth as
Not-
the last one.
Needs to be gothier. That was half the charm.
Hot Topic doesn't make money anymore.
If it doesn't take place in Detroit, I'm gonna be a sad panda.
Sad vampires are the worst ones.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, he's not a vampire. He's just undead, right? It's
Who?
like the Crow.
The Crow? Yeah, he's definitely not a vampire.
Not a vampire.
You're not
but
allowed to comment on the Crow, Ryan. You don't know enough about the Crow.
It's like, you don't know shit about the Crow.
But you do know something about Rob Zombie and the Munsters.
I do.
Yeah. and we liked that film. And now the show is happening. All right.
Well, and yeah, here's a
Recap.
little recap. Yeah, it says the original black and white sitcom ran for 2 seasons from 1964 to 1966. I can't believe it was only 2 years. I thought it was longer than that.
Well, they pumped them out, man. It still has like 100 episodes, I think.
That's crazy. It was on CBS. This was for the exact same amount of seasons and during the very same years as the Munsters' rival show on ABC, The Addams Family. Both shows lived on for decades in reruns. However, The Addams Family came back to life for several successful theatrical movies and animated projects. Now, it currently has a very successful spin-off on Netflix with Wednesday.
It's true. I like it.
I enjoyed it. It
Yeah.
was good for a watch. I'll admit it. I'd never watched it again.
Fair enough.
No doubt the success of that show made Universal reconsider the Munsters as something they could modernize. Maybe this time it will click at last.
Maybe it will. And just to correct myself from earlier, the original Munsters from 1964 had 72 episodes. So still pretty good for only 2 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And then they had made for TV movies and specials where they reprise their roles in like the 80s and the 70s, and the Munsters been around forever. It is very iconic. The thing is, Wednesday I think worked because they got I'm going to just say it. Jenna Ortega is very attractive, and she gets the young demographic and the creeper demographic right there.
Definitely.
But like, if you remake the Munsters, I mean, I guess you could try to make Lily Munster really hot, but that would be kind of awkward because she's the mom. I'm just saying it's not the same sex appeal. So what do?
Well,
You
no,
got to take a different attack.
No, what's her name? The daughter that they all call ugly, but she's actually pretty and normal.
I don't think she's a daughter. I think she was like a housekeeper or something.
Was she? Okay, yeah, like she was like something like that. But yeah, like they would always like be like the poor girl, like she's hideous. And she was just normal and pretty, like wearing nice dresses and shit.
Fair enough. I don't think that's the right message that they're going to want to do for this 1313 because they're saying it's going to be like like a more adult but like more creepy, scary adult. So yeah, sex appeal's out. I think they got to stick with like the stylistic horror kind of aspect, and I think it's two different audiences to get to. That's the only point I was trying to make. Is Wednesday has young people and people who think Jenna Ortega is hot. That is one audience. Whereas 1313, I feel like you can get kind of like the 80s horror guys, as well as like anybody who likes stylistic Tim Burton stuff and anybody who likes the creepy stuff. I mean, it depends on how far they go. Is it going to be rated R kind of? Is this going to be like HBO rated R? Or is this going to be like, family friendly, but like we're spooky? What are we doing here?
Rated R.
What are we doing?
Rated R for pirates. Fuck you.
Rated ARG.
Just say it.
Just saying. All right, guys. Well, you know what? That brings us to headline number 2. Sorry, I had a lot of feelings about the Munsters, and I wanted to share them, darn it.
I hope they bring back Spike.
Spike?
The dragon underneath the stairs.
Fair enough.
That is from the original.
All right, hashtag, guys. Hashtag bring Spike back.
That's right. Marvel sets Vision series for 2026. Paul Bettany set to return as White Vision.
Dun, dun, dun. So for those of you who don't know, Vision obviously dies in the what is it? The big movies, the Infinity War.
It was at the end of Infinity War.
Yes, and then he did not come back, but was kind of resurrected at the end of WandaVision. It was like he's a robot, so he was rebuilt. So kind of alive, but not.
Like,
comic books. Anyways,
yeah.
Now he is White Vision, and he flew off, and we haven't seen him since.
Well, and I just finished WandaVision because we talked about it last week, and I was saying that he really had no physical form, her Vision, but then they did rebuild this other Vision that like came to attack him, and they like actually ended up working stuff out together.
And like, yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was good. So, if you're a fan of Paul Bettany Vision, which of those of you who don't remember was originally Jarvis, the voice inside Iron Man's head until he was turned into Vision in Age of Ultron. So this character has had quite a journey. So he went from an AI to a robot powered by an Infinity Stone, then transformed into a reincarnation, which is White Vision. It's just a fun ride, guys.
Yep, and that's, I believe, before he disappeared, spoiler alert, at the end of WandaVision, he's like, I wonder how I'll come back next.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to go on a Vision quest. Whoa! Just saying.
Like it. I like it. Years after his last appearance on WandaVision, Paul Bettany is suiting up as Vision once again in a Disney Plus series set for 2026. Marvel is moving full steam ahead with the project, and according to Variety, Star Trek Picard executive producer Terry Matalas will be the showrunner for its Vision TV series.
And he was also the showrunner for season 3 of Picard, which was a lot of people liked it because it went back to the formula of more. It seemed more like a sequel to Next Generation, while as the first 2 seasons seemed like their own thing. So people were on board to hear this showrunner here.
Nice.
Yeah.
The show will follow White Vision, who now has his original memories and flew off to explore the world. Surely there is some comic precedent that the show can glean from, but it will be a while before we know anything else.
I don't think they're going to go comedy. Like, WandaVision had a little bit of a funny feel to it.
No, it said, sorry if you misunderstood, it said like a comic, like kind of like an already a story.
Yeah.
That's what it was saying.
Sure.
Like there is some comic precedent. That's what it said.
Yeah, fair enough.
As far as Wanda, she was presumed dead after the events of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but she will likely return to the MCU. We will have to wait and see when she comes back and if she runs across this version of Vision.
A lot of people would want to bring her back because she had such a strong relationship with Vision. I don't know if she will be. Like, I don't know if Elizabeth Olsen wants to do more Marvel stuff. In interviews, she seemed kind of like indifferent to the idea. I mean, money talks, right? If you come up with a dump truck of money, you're like, yeah, I'll come back. Which is why I think everyone, until Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are dead, there's a chance they'll come back in a future movie. I'm just saying.
Like it could always just happen in a flashback, or it could just happen like they can literally time travel now.
Well, it might happen in Deadpool, because he's jumping around and seeing all the different cameos from different universes. And it could happen in we're in the multiverse saga in Marvel, guys. So yeah.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep. And Deadpool's got the watch now that he can just do whatever he wants.
I don't know if they're going to use that watch. I think, I don't know. We got to see what happens because I think this is all has to do with the TVA from Loki because in the trailer, the TVA shows up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
So who knows, guys? There's a lot going on with Marvel, but you know what is fun? Marvel's doing a rebrand where people get confused, right? They're like, all right, I don't know who these characters are in the Marvels because I didn't watch Miss Marvel and I didn't watch WandaVision, so I don't know who this other character is. So why watch the Marvels? And that has been a common thread. So Marvel is trying to rebrand their series to be Marvel Television, and then the Marvel animated stuff will be Marvel Animation, and then we have Marvel Studios for the movies. And what that is to encourage the idea that no longer will people feel like they need to do homework to watch the movies. Kevin Feige is now back in charge because Chapek is no longer the head of Disney. We have Iger back, and Iger gives the power of MCU completely to Kevin Feige. So once again, he is taking the approach where he wants every movie to be a possible entry point for new fans. So there's no longer going to be, well, I didn't see that, so I don't know what's going on. And I think this new Vision show is going to be a part of that.
Brace yourselves. Piglet is coming. Move over, Winnie the Pooh. Piglet is ready for his 15 minutes of public domain horror fame.
Sorry. I think that's funny.
Have you ever wondered what would happen when the classic tale of Winnie the Pooh meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Piglet is a new horror film coming from Spook House Media Works and Strange Film Studios and is being directed by August Aguilar. Deep in the remote Appalachian Hills lives Piglet, the son of a once industrious butcher. Piglet's solitary life is shattered when fame-hungry millennials trespass into his land.
Stupid influencers.
In hopes of capturing paranormal activity on their struggling YouTube channel. In a foolish bid to manufacture exploitation, one of them slaughters Piglet's beloved pet pig. Little do they know, they've just incurred the wrath of a vengeful killer. Incensed, Piglet brutally dispatches the trespassers one by one. Says Aguilar about his latest. It's an amazing time to be a horror fan, and even more exciting time to be an indie filmmaker. I knew this would be a special kind of project as soon as I saw the script for Piglet, and how different it stands against the current public domain frenzy that has taken over, while delivering proper homage to classic slashers that we all grew up on. Working with Kevin, Kelly, and Dr. Chud has already been such a fun process, and knowing the passion and dedication to this project that everyone is already giving, we are really going to deliver something wild and special. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to serve as the director and continue pursuing what I love. Piglet stars Celeste Blandon from Phantom Fun World.
By the way, we apologize if any of these names are pronounced weirdly. It's hard to read names sometimes, man, just so you know.
Yep, I don't know how to pronounce most names. I just give it my best shot. And yes, forgive me. Brian Bremer from Pumpkinhead.
Ooh, I love Pumpkinhead.
Jasper Hammer, Bay for Blood.
That's an awesome name.
Eileen Sullivan, Knock Knock. And Angel Bradford from Desperate Souls.
Ooh.
The forces at work behind the monster are director August Aguilar, producer Kevin Milliken, writer Kelly Hudson, artist Jake Hades, and formerly of legendary rock band The Misfits, composer David Dr. Chud Calabrese. Marketing duties are overseen by Michael Joy. And we get like a little look here on the cover, Piglet. It looks just like a scary kind of pig head over a cabin in the woods.
Well, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference is really good, right? Because it was at a slaughterhouse. I don't know. Hey, you figured out a way to do Piglet. I mean, really, it's nothing like Piglet from Winnie the Pooh, right? So the public domain of Piglet falling into the public domain, they're just using the name Piglet.
Right. It's not literally about freaking Piglet.
It's a completely... but you know what? More power to you guys. You found a niche and you're going after it. I salute you.
At least he's not literally donning a giant Piglet costume. Like, isn't that what they did with
Winnie the Pooh? But
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh is no, I mean, don't misunderstand. By no stretch of the imagination, a good movie, but it's a lot of fun. Like to watch like once or twice to be like, look at that.
We talked about it before on the podcast, didn't we? And I remember when we did, I mentioned that there was a teacher who she let the class like vote on a movie at the end of the year or whatever. This is a couple years, like this happened years ago.
Like, she'll never know.
And they all did. They all voted for Blood and Honey. And she didn't think twice because she just saw Winnie the Pooh.
I know, but the word blood is in there.
Like, yeah, she
clearly wasn't listening.
right. And or the kids just like she just let them be like, yep, we've got it. It's just Winnie the Pooh. Here, we'll put it in.
She didn't even look at the cover.
Yeah, I guess it played for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, and she's like,
which I'm guessing the opening scene, like every other slasher, is probably bloody as hell.
She's like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Oh, God damn it. I think the kids got me again.
It's poop again.
Yeah. Son of a bitch. First Boogie Nights, now this. I just wanted to watch a show about dancing.
So I guess that's what this guy thinks, is a revolutionary idea. Use the public domain name, but just,
go with it.
Just use it. Like, you're not even gonna make anything. It's not like he calls himself Piglet or something.
I don't know. He might. I mean, we don't know much about this movie. Maybe it'll turn more Piglet. I mean, because the Piglet was the one killed, maybe that is what the Piglet from this movie and not the killer kid, right?
It would be so funny if he just sounded like Piglet. Like there was and he just, he had like because like Piglet has like a little squeaky little voice. Like,
I do not remember how Piglet sounds, but you know how long
I
it's
do.
been since. All right,
I remember.
Go for it.
That was my best. It was just, he kind of has this little voice, I think.
Magnificent.
I think that's all
Give
it
this
is.
man a voice role.
I deserve one.
You
I would
do.
love to do it.
All right, man.
It'd
We
be
got to get
fun.
in contact with these producers of Piglet. That's the plan.
For money.
For money. Ryan don't act for free.
Right. Moving on.
All right, so guys, if you're a fan of Piglet, awesome. And now, are you also a fan of other horror things, like perhaps books or video games? Because there's some other remakes coming out.
Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica remakes reportedly in the works at Capcom. Following the enormous success of the Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 remakes, excuse me, Capcom has turned its attention to remakes of Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica. That's according to Twitter X report by Dusk Gollum, who said remakes of the Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica are in development right now.
And obviously, if they're reporting on it, this guy's broken other stories.
Right. And IGN can corroborate that 0 and Code Veronica are the next 2 Resident Evil remakes scheduled to release.
That's cool. I mean, I liked him. I played the remake of Resident Evil 2, and I gotten to the point
Me too.
where there was this thug guy who keeps following you throughout the game, and like you can't escape him. He just keeps coming, and I hate that. So I stopped. I stopped playing the game because I hated that.
Here's my problem. I'd have been fine with that if they'd have let me know. Like the moment he started doing that, they really should have done like a block little note at the top, like keep tyrant will keep coming after you, try to get away. Like, so it's
like it's not about killing him because you
I
unloaded
used everything.
Yeah, you unloaded everything.
I used everything on him, and I literally depleted everything, and I didn't save properly, and I went and saved, and I had gone too far, and I realized I had screwed up, and I just stopped playing.
You know what's funny is that is a little bit on us because these games are remakes. And like, so 20 years this game's been out. So people are probably like, everyone knows you don't kill that guy.
Well, you used to back in the day in the old one on N64.
I don't know if you did.
Oh yeah. He would come to a point where he'd drop to his knees and fall.
Yeah, but he does that in this remake too. He just still gets back up after a few seconds.
Right, but I remember it was like you would do it. You had to do it. You couldn't escape him. I don't believe in the original. You had to drop him, and he would only come at like 3 or 4 different points, and that was it. Once you got rid of him in those points, he wouldn't come back again for that round.
You know what? I could be wrong, but I think you might be just reflecting on your own experience. Because
it's possible.
I've heard other things, but let me tell you, these remakes are pretty good.
They are really good. No,
yeah. Graphic wise.
I was really bummed, and there's many times I've thought about picking it back up.
Well, I think you will someday, Ryan. I think you will pick it back up, and I think you will defeat it. I think you will find all the keys and get through that prison, or what is it, jail cell.
Yes, that roadblock there. I know, I have to do it. And it says here that Capcom is yet to comment, though, on these reports.
Oh, yeah, they're not gonna say nothing, but they are definitely doing more remakes. That's a given.
All right, and it says Resident Evil 0 first launched on the GameCube in 2002 as a prequel to 1996's Resident Evil. It covers the events surrounding the STARS Bravo team in the Arklay Mountains, with the player switching between police officer Rebecca Chambers and convicted former Force reconnaissance officer Billy Cohen.
Nice.
Resident Evil 0 HD Remaster came out in 2016 before releases on Nintendo Switch in 2019. Code Veronica, meanwhile, originally released for the Dreamcast in 2000 as the 4th mainline Resident Evil game and the first in the series to launch on a non-PlayStation console.
You know what's crazy? They have like 15 games that you haven't even heard of, and me either. I was going through like a rabbit hole on YouTube, and there's like a game where you're just like one of the Marines working for Umbrella, and it was like a on the rails shooter, and they have like 4 phone games. They have a bunch of weird stuff, man. And then stuff that was never released in the US too.
Remember when I had my Wii? We would play. Yeah, it was like House of the Dead, where it moved for you, and you just had to shoot off screen.
Yeah,
in order to
that
reload.
Was one of the weird spin-offs.
That was cool. I remember you and I played that for a while.
Yeah, that was cool. I do like all those.
I miss my Wii sometimes. Some of those little like gimmicky games were fun.
They were to an extent. It's just the problem is like it didn't take long before everyone had done everything you could really do comfortably. So then things got really complicated, and they're like, oh, it was hard. It was hard. It was good for the games that were made for it.
Correct.
But any ported game to the Nintendo, it got real difficult to play.
It seems to be the curse of Nintendo. I don't know why they always shoot themselves in the foot that way. But so Code Veronica stars Claire Redfield and her brother Chris Redfield as they battle to survive an outbreak in a remote prison island in the Southern Ocean. Code Veronica ditched the pre-rendered backgrounds of previous Resident Evil games to use real-time 3D environments with dynamic camera movement. The game was remastered for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and is available to play via backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I love any game that they do that. There's so many games like Fallout, which we talk a lot about. 3 and Fallout New Vegas, I still can't play without streaming them. I just want them to backwards compatible every game, but that's yet to happen. Yet to happen.
I could download it on Game Pass on my PC, but surprisingly, it's a huge download. Like for Fallout New Vegas, it was a bigger download than Fallout 4, which doesn't make sense to me, but whatever.
Well, a lot of these Resident Evil remakes, they're not bad. They were like 36 gigs, and those are for the remakes, the new ones. So the old ones are like, I don't know, 5 gigabytes.
Like no, but like it's a huge download. Like that's why it's the only reason I haven't gotten it. I'm like, I'll have to wait till I really have that itch.
Fair enough.
It should come as no surprise to learn that more Resident Evil remakes are on the way, after Capcom indicated as much in December of last year. Although at the time it stopped short of announcing which games would be next. At a PlayStation Partner Awards event in Japan, attended and translated by IGN Japan, Resident Evil 4 remake director, please work with me on this one, Yasuhiro Enpo,
Not bad.
said the company would announce its next Resident Evil remake in due course.
In due course, my good friend, in due course.
Oh, yes, quite. Yes, Anpo replied, when asked if Capcom wanted to keep making Resident Evil remakes. We've released 3 remakes so far, and
That's 2, 3, and 4.
They have all been received very well. Since it allows a modern audience to play these games, it is something I am happy to do as someone that loves these older games, and we want to continue doing more. What game we will remake in the future is something that we would like to announce in the future, so please look forward to it. Meanwhile, Capcom is also working on the next mainline Resident Evil game, currently dubbed Resident Evil 9 by the fans. However, Capcom's next AAA release is a Monster Hunter Wilds, due out at some point in 2025. I have heard great thing about Monster Hunter. I've never played it.
I'll tell you what, they made a movie, and I loved it. And it was starring Milla Jovovich and directed by the same guy who did the Resident Evil movies.
Well, that sounds great.
It was great. I liked it.
And I had a coworker that was obsessed, and literally, whether I wanted him to or not, my man would tell me all about every new item, every new monster. He was so obsessed with Monster Hunter. It seemed pretty involved, but it's like one of those games where you're attacking the monster forever. Like their life bar takes you like an hour to like chisel at.
Well, yeah, because the game that game, I think the battle is like the main part of the game. You know what I mean? It's like those people who want to play Final Fantasy for like 10 hours.
Exactly. It's like like people who love World of Warcraft. When you get to like the bosses, like you're hacking away at them forever.
Yeah, it's part of it, man. It's part of it. So
this looks sweet. I'm watching the video. Joe's got the preview of Monster Hunter from 2020.
The movie is talking Milla Jovovich.
Yep, and it looks sweet.
It is sweet. No one liked it. It flopped, but I loved it.
I think it's so unfortunate because even the CGI looks great in that. It looks really good, really well done, and it's like I think that it's just an unfortunate thing where we're all so desensitized. We're all so, we're spoiled rotten
with how many things we get. And yeah, it's like, oh, another giant monster fight. Do you know how cool giant monsters are and how hard they are to make?
Right?
You guys are being selfish.
Right? like let's remember like how it looked in the 80s in Return of the Jedi when the Rancor grabbed Luke. Like they did their best.
They did their best.
You know what I mean? And it was so obviously like so scruffy looking when the hand goes around them.
Well, when they have the thick black line because the things were matted on top of each other. Yeah, it's fun. You have to get used to it. It's a style. It's a style.
But that's why I always embrace the use of actual physical puppetry and such.
Oh yeah, physical effects are the best.
After he's grabbed and he's being brought up, that looks great.
Yeah, the fake hand.
That looks great.
Well, anyways, back to the thing at hand.
Sorry, I can't help but mention Star Wars.
It's okay. So, Code Veronica is a great game, and I'm glad they're remaking it. I think it's kind of cool that they're doing that in Resident Evil 0 because these are games I never got to play because they were on consoles I didn't have,
Correct.
And they were kind of like sideline games. And I love Claire Redfield. I think she's a great character, so I'm really happy to see her game being renewed. I mean, that's why I liked the second one. So, yeah.
And
I'm here for it. Make as many of these remakes as you want. And it's good because like people want to be cynical and they're like, oh, they're remaking a game. So a game they already made. And it's like, yeah, but they do redo this from bottom up. Like there's new,
Right.
like they do everything over again. It's not like it's easy.
It doesn't feel like a cash grab to me.
Well, it might be a little bit, but I don't think it's a malicious one. Because the fans do want it.
I was going to say the people want it, so that's the difference. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, the people want it, and like you said, they do it well.
They do it well. And you know who else does it well, Ryan? Me and you.
We do.
We've completed our 39th episode of Earthling Entertainment.
In a row?
In a row? Thank you. We did
I
it.
wanted to make a 37 joke 2 episodes ago, but I totally forgot.
Yes, for anyone who doesn't know, that is the Clerks joke. So if you want to see the Kevin Smith film Clerks from 1994, that is where that joke comes from. It's about fellatio.
Try not to suck any dick on your way through the parking lot.
Ah.
Hey, get back here.
All right, the parental advisory sticker is going on this episode. Thanks, Ryan.
Yes.
Anyways, guys, thank you very much for listening to this episode of Earthling Entertainment. Like we said, it was episode 39, which isn't a special number. I just wanted to point it out. And join us next week for episode 40. Now, that is a slightly better number.
Yeah.
All right. And to support the show, if you like what you hear, please download the episodes. That is the best way to support us. It doesn't matter what app you listen to the podcast. Any of them work. Just download the episode. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. We love doing this, and we always love hearing from anyone who likes the show. Please message us on Facebook. We would love to talk about any kind of creature or some kind of headline that you want us to cover or anything like that.
Yeah, if you guys want to reach out, Facebook is a great way to do it. Now, if you are of the age or of the state of mind where Facebook isn't cool and you don't want to do that, we do have an email address. What was the email address, Ryan?
Our email address is fully earthlingentertainment@gmail.com.
There you go. And so from all of us here at Earthling Entertainment, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Okay, Ryan, I have a confession to make.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I started buying Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street books.
As one does.
Yeah. So the thing is, my Friday the 13th collection can only get so much bigger. There's only 1, maybe 2 young adult books left, and one of them is in the same series I have the first 3 in, but then the other one's this weird, like, I don't know if it was a crossover between that young adult series and the television show, but they brought together the characters from Friday the 13th the series, which was a brother and sister who owned a pawn shop, and in that pawn shop there was like weird things, and each episode they would focus on one of those items, and that would be the story of the episode. But it had really little to do with the Friday the 13th franchise as a whole. So it's an interesting concept that this one young adult book crossed over those characters with the Friday the 13th book. Anyways, I also need 2 more Jason X books, 3 if you count the movie adaptation. But then I'm done. So then I started falling down this rabbit hole of Nightmare on Elm Street novelizations, because those are less expensive. They're not much less expensive, but they're less expensive, Ryan.
Okay. Well, I mean, that sounds like something that can add to, you've got all the horror. So like all you're missing is, do they make Chucky books?
I don't know, but I'm afraid to look. Like the issue is I am a completish. You know, I can't say the word. Complete.
He's got to finish shit.
Yeah, I do. So there's things that I always did. So I have all the Disney books that are from Star Wars, all the ones that they've released since 2013, because even though they've contradicted themselves since, originally every one of the books were supposed to be 100% canon with the movies. So I'm buying these books and then getting the actual films on physical media and sticking them in the correct timeline order with the books on my shelf.
He really is.
And the problem is, then it got into the comics, and then the same thing. Like, in order to put the comics in between that, I was like, that's too much. So I'll leave the comics separate. But then Disney Plus comes out, and there's all this physical media that that's not coming out. It's not coming out, Ryan. So, you can't get things like The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan or whatever on Blu-ray up until apparently a few months ago when they started releasing them on 4K Blu-ray, and now I'm like, oh crap, do I buy them and put them into my timeline, Ryan? Do I?
I don't know. So you're talking about buying like the new 4K version series.
Because then I could fit in the timeline with my books and movies.
And I mean, it would look great there. And
the issue is not enough people come over my house to see my collections. So who am I doing it for, Ryan? I have a family now, so you come over, but how many people are looking at my library?
And it comes down to that. I don't know. I'm weird with buying physical media anymore because it's like, what's going to be the next thing? Are they going to even continue?
Well, physical media, no, they're not going to continue, but that's why you want to buy it, because with these streaming sites, let's say Netflix has the rights to stream this movie, and then they're like, all right, well, we no longer have it, and then no one else picks it up. Well, now there's a movie that is not streaming anywhere. So that movie is essentially gone unless you have a DVD or an old VHS. You cannot see that movie. So let's say 50 years from now, and there's not backups of like 20, 30, 40 years of movies that we've made because none of them are getting printed into physical media. Well, now, if someone doesn't have the rights, it's like they never existed. So it's a way of preserving film.
And I agree with that too. And it also has to do with the fact that I suspect that a lot of times they are letting these people kind of like give them a new version of the movie. Like they'll cut it up, they'll add a deleted scene, maybe cut something out.
Well, it's anything to make a new version.
Right. But they won't even say anything that they did. And then, whatever it is they give to these streaming services, you get what you get. And what
Well, you're talking about how Disney re-edits and changes things on their
They do that all the
movies.
time.
Yeah, Disney is really bad about that on their Disney Plus series.
I've noticed it a few times. Like, I swear they even altered something in Star Wars that I noticed. I'm not going to quote it here yet, but let me rewatch it because
you want to double check.
I want to double check before I air it here because I don't want to talk crap really on how much they're editing Star Wars. But one thing I've always wanted is the original trilogy. Like, I don't understand why they can't just stream the original the way it was, because I know they got it.
Special edition is the official one, bud.
Right, but why can't they air the other one, original theatrical version?
Simply because it is mandated that the special edition is the official edition by Lucas when they sold it. Also, they remastered it with those new effects. So the only old one, they probably would have to go to like the original negative or like a VHS, and it might be too degraded now to redo it. So they would have to literally do the same thing they did with the special edition and go in and digitally, just like they added, remove everything they added, and then it would not be a true version of the original. It would just be a new version that was like the original.
And I agree, and I've accepted that we're not getting them, but I'm just saying I think they missed the mark. I think if they were to come out now and be like, buy the
Oh, there's a million people who'd buy it.
Like
There's
the
a lot
updated version, like, because they could just update it, right? They could just make it watchable. Like, they wouldn't add effects. They, wouldn't be all the added stuff.
The problem is there's a huge difference between what came out on VHS and what 4K looks like on TV.
And I still remember that old VHS. I still remember watching it. I remember the little orange glow underneath the land speeder. I remember.
Yeah, they called it the false smudge.
Yeah, like I remember all the old school stuff, and I mean, that's what I grew up on. So I guess I'm just nostalgic.
It still exists, bud. Just I have a VCR right here, and I use it so I could digitize VHS material when I need to. But the point is, we could watch it. If you find old VHSs, we could watch them, man.
I could take a look.
I ain't going to put them on YouTube or something because Disney would catch me. Disney would be like, ho, Joe Wakefield, we're suing you into last week. I mean, I assume. At least tell me to take it off.
And then Uncle Sam busts into the chat. Oh, all right, how much money did we make?
Yeah, no, Mickey shows up. Ho, I'm going to kick your ass, Wakefield, you son of a bitch. Ho.
Like, just, that was pretty good. Oh, that was a pretty good Mickey.
No, that was not a good Mickey. That was a good version of South Park's version of Mickey.
Do I own him yet?
No, not yet. Excellent.
I love you, Joe. You're a funny guy. You're a funny guy.
Yeah, you too, man.
What do you mean funny? Like a clown funny? Like I'm here to entertain you?
You know, I've never seen that movie. Out of all the movies I like, I've never seen Goodfellas.
No shit.
You know, those aren't my type of movies. I don't like cops, courts, crime, soldiers, war, drug drama. That's just nothing political. I don't like that stuff. Like, for me, it's escapism is about movies. So if it doesn't have to be fantasy or sci-fi, but like I love absurd comedies, because that's stuff that can't actually happen in real life. And I don't know. I go for escapism, man.
I will say, out of all of them, Goodfellas is probably my favorite of the gangster films. It's the best one, in my opinion.
Really? I have
It-
something else to confess. I have not seen anything past The Godfather 1.
Same here. I only saw
Okay.
the first one, but I heard the second one's like arguably better.
Everyone loves the second one.
I've never seen it, and they know it's good because you can't stream it anywhere. You got to buy it.
What's funny is I do own it because I have respect for film and I want to watch a lot of these classics, and I watch most of them. Like I go out of my way to really do watch old films and kind of absorb them. But it's hard with those genres I listed, because I really ultimately, even if I respect the film from a artistic standpoint, I just don't enjoy them. Like Apocalypse Now, it is a wonderful, wonderful film. I could point out all the reasons why it is a masterpiece, and I didn't really like it.
I feel the same way. I think I feel the same way about Miley Cyrus. Where it's like
Fair
I'm not
enough.
a huge fan, but I can respect the journey.
I could
I
see the
respect
hustle.
her growth, her
Right.
hustle. Yeah, she works hard.
Fair
Oh, yeah.
enough.
Well, it's just we knew her back when she was Hannah Montana. My little cousin's like being all into it, and then all of a sudden
I was
she's-
aware of it because I think we were in high school, so it's like there was young people around who like talked about it. So I remember going to like the store and they like had Hannah Montana towels.
My
and I'm like,
cousin had a
that-
Hannah Montana birthday,
that's like, oh my god, this is the new thing. Okay, that makes sense.
and then it was just seemed like overnight. All of a sudden, here she is twerking on the dude at the Super Bowl or whatever.
Well, it is a thing that all celebrities do when they're child stars. Like there's that weird one who was JoJo, and I guess she was I don't know if she was from Dance Moms or she was a kid from some reality show, but then she started singing. She's super popular, and she kind of looks like Rainbow Bright from the 80s. She has like one pigtail and a bunch of glitter, and she's she's perpetually like 9 years old.
Okay.
But lately she's like, now I'm older and I'm out as a lesbian and I'm a bad girl now. And she like did this weird like goth thing, but it was like if you asked Kiss to make a goth outfit, because there was a lot of like silver rhinestones and
yeah.
flair. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just saying it's a thing that all kid celebrities do. Look at Bella Thorne. She
No.
was a sweet girl and then she went nuts.
And I'm not talking crap. It's just you have to understand from from a audience standpoint. I remember being like, oh, well, damn. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was jarring.
Yeah, it was quick.
It's
But
always
I get
jarring.
it. But I get it. She's got.
To be clear,
Yeah.
I wasn't busting your balls. I was just pointing out a
Oh, no,
familiar theme.
I guess I was just explaining to myself that it was just like I just remember at the time it just being like, huh,
Oh,
okay,
so that's where we are in history.
yeah, and it's cool. I bet everybody had, like you said, they all go through that kind of crazy shit.
I mean, I feel like they do. I mean, some people get out of it. I could be wrong, but Hillary Duff seems relatively stable,
She does.
right? I haven't heard anything crazy about her. Maybe I haven't dived into it, but I think she's good.
I mean, last I saw she was doing like a commercial for like being like a stay-at-home mom, like for,
Okay.
like cooking meals or whatever. They're like this business that you basically get meals delivered to you.
All right, fair.
And she,
Probably
like-
Meals on Wheels, maybe. I don't know.
And I must say, like she's gorgeous. She still looks great.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. But she did 2 seasons of the spinoff How I Met Your Mother. It was How I Met Your Father.
Oh, okay. See, I never watched that one.
Unfortunately, not a lot of people did. That's why there's only 2 seasons. But I watched the first few episodes of season 1, and I liked it. I just, there's a lot of things to watch, and sometimes things fall off.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Chucky series. They had those 3 or 4 episodes, and then they took like a 6-month break. So I never saw the ending of last season because I just haven't gotten back into it yet.
It was
So-
bloody.
It was bloody. I got to rewatch the whole season, the whole White House season.
I just like how they just by the end they just embraced it. Every episode was like, next episode of fucking Chucky.
They're like,
they-
we're getting weird.
like the whole thing with the doctor. Did you get to that part where
I
they
know.
totally break the fourth wall? Like
No.
completely?
So when the guardian of the 2 main characters, Jake and the other kid, I forget his name, but when that guardian, the redhead, their former teacher, got killed, was the last episode I saw.
They still had the good humor, like from like Bride of Chucky kind of thing. See like that kind of humor.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a tongue-in-cheek show for sure.
I'd like to. I don't know. I'd like to see them try something new.
Oh yeah.
Like maybe with Chucky, I wouldn't mind seeing them because they've totally redone him, right? They did it with Mark Hamill, where he's basically kind of AI. Where
Well, the
he's
thing
Bluetooth.
is, you got to realize that's two completely different people. The original creator of Chucky is doing the Chucky movies and the Chucky series. What that was is Universal owned the rights to Child's Play, the first film, and they remade the first movie Child's Play. Two completely different companies.
I would like to see like an R-rated Small Soldiers-esque
version, like the new Child Play with what's her name, who played the
Megan
mother.
Oh gosh,
Aubrey Plaza.
yeah, Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza was in the new one. It was good. It was very different though.
Yeah,
It would be like Small Soldiers if you get a bunch of robot Chuckies.
That would be cool. Like, but maybe not with Chucky's. Just do something totally different, like Small Soldiers. Like, but just make it, like really bloody. Like,
just killer. You want another Killer Toys? Well, there is like Demon Toys, and there's like 8 or 10 of those.
I always liked the Puppet Master.
Master. There's also like 8 or 10 of those.
Yeah, I liked those movies. I actually thought they were pretty good.
They're fun. I'm a fan of the small thing running around and like gonna kill you. It's a scary little trope because they could hide anywhere. You're just sitting down. They come out and slice your Achilles heel like from under the couch. It's creepy.
They gave it like a crazy backstory too. I want to say in the 4th one, it was like a prequel, like literally the beginning of the first puppet, and it's by a guy named, if I remember right, Tulan.
Yeah, and wasn't he like a Nazi?
Yeah, he was Jewish, and they were in Nazi Germany during that time. And his friends who were killed were Jewish, and he put their souls into the dolls to exact his revenge.
Yeah, and that was like what, like 3 or 4?
I think that was 4.
They're at like 12.
I want to say it was 4.
There's so much added lore.
The first 3 were pretty much kind of like the same kind of thing, where it's just like, yeah, here we are, and here's the dolls. They're killing people, blah, blah, blah. They didn't really go too much in the backstory. The 4th one, they gave them that they were basically, they were Jews from the time of the Holocaust that they used voodoo crazy magic to stay alive so that to be eternal in the dolls to attack the Germans. And
it's crazy. I mean, I wonder if that's still canon. Like all these movies later, did they retcon any of that, or is that still the story? I don't know, because I don't know if any of them were remakes or it was all the same company. But hey, I wanted to jump back to Chucky real quick. I thought of something. They should do what all horror movies go to do to die. Go to space. Imagine Chucky come in the future. He doesn't even have to be on a spaceship.
Oh my God.
Give me Earth. Give me you can give me a post-apocalyptic Earth, or even better, a utopia Earth, like Demolition Man, where everything's neat and clean, and like Chucky shows up. He's like, "What the?" And then they're like, "Oh, no swearing, you little doll creature," Leave it to Beaver World.
Maybe they can get Tom Cruise to be in it, because
Why would Tom Cruise be in it?
Because he said so many times how badly he wants to film in space. So what if we get Tom Cruise and Elon Musk involved, and we could get SpaceX involved, and we will actually film Chucky in space?
Oh, man. Well, you know what? That seems like a hard sell, but I guarantee if you get them involved, we got ourselves a movie. That'll get financed, sir.
I'm just saying, you get Elon, like if you gas him up, like you gas up Elon,
you don't even have to get Elon Musk, man. Go after
Richard Branson.
Or Jeff Bezos. Well, you know what? Richard Branson's actually probably the most likely.
He's the crazy one.
He's a kooky guy.
Yeah, he's the crazy
one. So he might
one.
do it.
But he doesn't like have crap like SpaceX, though.
He does have spaceships, yes.
He does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All these billionaires got spaceships, bro.
Calling Richard Branson. We must do a Chucky movie in space for real.
I liked the Virgin store in Chicago.
Yeah, Virgin. The end.